Hey, John.
Hey, Alicia. Welcome.
Two.
Right
Fucking
now.
now. Yeah.
International edition.
Again. Again.
Again,
So I'm still in Morocco and you are
back in Phoenix, Arizona,
Phoenix.
the homeland.
Okay. So I was texting you like a madwoman overnight, being like, oh my God, I'm having a realization. We should talk. Call me. So here we are. We're talking.
Um, my reaction is going to be genuine since no preview was given for our listeners.
Nope.
So lay it on me.
Okay. So, an episode or two or three, we've talked about this, maybe ago or not. But that whole idea that a thought and the physical experience are both manifestations, right? And they are essentially
Yes.
within range of each other. They're right there. So, as I was showering, good thinking spot, I came to the realization that holy shit, if I'm having a thought about a thing, that means it is actually that close to my physical reality. And this was a big deal for me because sometimes I have thoughts about things and my little human brain gets in the middle of it of like, ugh, that sounds like a lot of work, or gosh, how would that even be possible? And then it was like, whoa, hold up. If I'm having that thought, that means it is actually that close to physically manifesting, right? And so, in an episode or two ago, where you talked about, $1 billion versus $1 million check falling from the sky, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because either way, you've had the thought, so you're within range of that actually materializing in physical reality. And it all of a sudden it just like softened all of these things that seem so far and so distant and you know time distant from actually materializing. That it felt really good. It was a really good realization. So I'd be curious, what are your thoughts around this?
Fuck yes. It seems like you not only had the intellectual understanding, but you had the emotional feedback of it clicking and
Mm-hmm.
actually experiencing it or realizing it, recognizing it, which are the most profound and fun things to have. Abraham's immediately coming to mind where she says, if you have the thought of something, it's 99% done because
Mm-hmm.
it's already in your field of awareness. You just have that 1% tiny bit to do to line up with the feeling of it, essentially, or just line up with happiness itself to allow it to come in. And the second thing that's coming to mind, and both these topics non coincidentally have been on my mind sharply for the last week or so. My man, Reverend Ike, from probably the 1960s or 70s, he gave such a great perspective on like the seed analogy that if you have an idea, it's a seed. And he was saying the action is automatic. So the physical action you would take to realize that is automatic. It's built into the seed. You just have
Mm-hmm.
to plant the seed in the emotion. You already recognize you have the thought plus emotion equals experience. So yeah, removing the limiting beliefs of all the patterns we were shown that it's hard and you have to suffer. And the paradox and humor in that is the suffering is actually and the working and the efforting is what pushes it further away.
Yes.
So yes.
Yeah. It really it just struck me so differently today, right? If I am able, if my human brain is receiving this thought, and we were talking about thought, experience, they're milliseconds away from each other. I don't know if seconds is the right unit of
Yes.
measurement, but like they're vibrationally, you know, so freaking close that there's virtually no difference. Then if I'm having the thought, it's there, right? And Abraham talks about that, right? It's done. It's done. It's done, right? I experience the contrast. I launch the rocket of desire. It's done. Whoa, a whole new meaning. right? It's done. It's really cool.
100%. I do little drawings for myself some mornings after meditation. Rather than writing words, I'll do little drawings. And I made one the other day where I had desire as like a circle target at the top of the page. And then I had my current emotional state of being and perspective at the bottom of the page, and seeing this journey between the 2 points. Because as we've talked about, there needs to be 2 points in order to have some degree of relationship, right? All that is can't know itself until it splits itself, so it can then have a relationship to itself. But in between these 2 points, I drew like little squares that I wrote barriers on them, and then next to it I wrote beliefs. So I was creating this visual image of a concept that the point already exists, you're seeing it, the desire is the target, you know it exists, and you're moving towards it. And then the fun game is you simply have these patterns of thought, i.e. beliefs, which are like little hurdles or blocks, and you could walk over them, you could walk around them, you could dismantle them. There's a million different ways to change them, but that's the only thing that's hindering. And maybe it could be as simple as maybe Abraham's perspective of shifting to better feeling thoughts. You like skirt the whole process of dismantling, although like busting loose from the money game and Joshua and several of these other channels suggest like looking straight at the beliefs and dismantling them, but both seem like potentially effective strategies.
I have a little pop quiz for you.
Love pop quizzes.
And it came up for me as a result of you talking about, and I love this image that you're talking about, right? Desire, result, beliefs in between. I think that's really stinking cool. We're going to figure out a way how to splice that in. We'll do like a cool digital version of it. So, but
cool. All right.
So here's my pop quiz. Give me a minute. It's going to take a minute to find it.
That was, in the meantime, I can reference that famous, there's some 80s movie where the line is pop quiz, hot shot. Maybe it's Top Gun. I don't know what movie it's from.
Maybe, I don't know.
But anyway.
Okay. So, do I need to control my thoughts, my beliefs, or my emotions? Here's the scenario. I spill coffee on my shirt. Thought. I'm so clumsy today. Repetition. If you keep thinking I'm clumsy across multiple incidences, it solidifies into belief. I'm a clumsy person. Emotion. Next time I spill something, I'm totally annoyed and frustrated. So, do I need to control my thoughts, my beliefs, or my emotions? What do you think?
I would say you could pick any of the three because they're essentially forming a self-reinforcing loop with each element reinforcing the others. Ultimately, it's all belief-based.
Ding, 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 ding.
But for the experience, I see how they all reinforce and indicate each other. Mm-hmm. That was the correct answer? It's all belief-based?
It's all belief-based. So emotion is the signal. It's not the thing to control, right? You listen to it, you don't resist it or try to change it, right? That is that emotional guidance system. So that's the signal. Also, if we're thinking about Bashar, right? And he talks about the human mind perceives, I can never remember it, right? We're also not necessarily responsible for our thoughts, right? It's a matter of those thoughts, which do we choose to believe, right? Because the thoughts themselves are inherently neutral, and we receive thoughts based on whatever vibrational range we're in. And so it's fundamentally the beliefs underneath all of this is what we get to play with and control with our little human minds.
Yes. What a great example. And it amplifies the concept of how deep the game goes in this reality and this experience we're having. It's simple, but it's rich and complex at the same time. Mm-hmm. And we've been offered so many different options for play And truly, there is no right or wrong. So it is just so richly complex because, from one perspective, I'm 100% in the beliefs, or actually, I'd say the vibration, point of attraction, state of being is contained within those beliefs, and then that's going to push out the experiences, the thoughts, and then the emotional indicators, ultimately the actions. From another level, maybe more Abraham-esque, who's very frequently functioning as a soother, I would say, to get us closer to realignment. Her idea of just completely shifting off the topic wouldn't be really like a dealing with the emotion. It would be changing the emotion, but I recognize you're not changing the emotion in the belief system or thought that you're having. You're changing the emotion by completely shifting focus and distracting yourself into a whole new topic where you have a new belief system and can therefore generate a new emotion. This idea of this and that Bashar gave is so epic for me. And it's all a matter, like a magic eye. You like shift the perspective, and then all of the sudden I can make any statement anyone says or I say valid by shifting to the paradigm from which that perspective is viewed from. And then if what you put out is what you get back, you can get solidified proof from physical reality that that's it. It's literally like an infinite maze of mirrors, all reflecting off each other.
So many mirrors. I love
Yeah,
it.
it always feels good. It feels really good to me to always validate everything. To always validate everything.
Validate the good feeling things, right? Because if it feels as good, it is. So.
Yes, that is valid, Alicia.
Yeah. Thanks for validating that. That's awesome.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
That was my big realization.
Well,
that was it.
It's a magnificent realization. It really is.
So I guess the question I would pose to you is, what are you going to do with that realization?
Yes. Me personally?
Today, right now, right fucking now. What are you going to do with that realization?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay.
I'm going to sit in it and appreciate it.
Marinate in it.
Yes.
I love that. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm about to go on a ATV tour in the desert. So I'm just imagining like a lot of fucking fun. And so, I mean, if I'm thinking about it, it's there. It's done. It's done.
It's 99% done. It's just that allowance piece and lining up with it. I was hearing an Abraham yesterday on YouTube where she was offering a ratio of 90% and 10% and suggesting when you were planning to physically incarnate, you planned, if there is such a thing, to spend 90% of your time in the allowing, receptive mode. Wow. Just positive state of being, allowing reality to unfold as it is. And then roughly 10% of your time in like a step one moment, as she calls, experiencing contrast and then launching a rocket of desire so you have more content fodder to allow into your experience. And she was suggesting, but what you all pretty much seem to be doing is inverting that, where you're spending 90% of your time focusing in on the contrast and only 10% of your time allowing it. So yeah, if it's 99% done when you have the thought, it's already right there. And it's just a matter of allowing in the joyful state, maybe by shifting off topics, maybe by dismantling beliefs, but all of the above.
So as you're saying that, I'm thinking, wow, I've got a fuck ton of allowing ahead of me in my life because, you know, the first 40 years, I think I was doing a lot more, desire launching. Anyway.
Yeah, that's my new focus for the last few mornings. And it seems like it'll be my new focus going forward for a while. Just can I be happy with what is? What I really want is happiness in every moment. And it is achievable in every moment, not as a thought, but as an actual emotional quality of experience. Just not like, quote, needing so much in the physical world, but just being at peace within myself wherever I am, whatever's happening. That receiving mode just feels so good, the effortless being, knowing what I am and not needing to engage so deeply in the objects that aren't present or the people that aren't present, and just being present and appreciating. There's so many of these elements from so many different teachers that come together, and there's so many different ways to assemble them. There it is.
The power of now, which makes me think of him, right? And what he talks about
Yes.
with regards to desire and the human mind, and yeah, the thinking, the future. What's the word? Anyway, thinking about the future versus worrying about the past, worried about the future, thinking about the past. Anyway, yeah. Like this is right on for what you are talking about right now. Have you read it?
I've listened to sections of it on audiobook, and I love Eckert and listened to a bunch of him on YouTube. And I see his core premise in that if reality is a mirror, as soon as I say, I don't like what's going on, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be by these people, that emotional vibration is what I'm sending out into the mirror, which is, it's just not going to feel good sending that out. And then reality in the mirror has to bounce more circumstances of that vibration to me. And maybe that's the perspective from which people say, when you can embrace and love whatever is happening, it will go away. It's really your perspective of it that's going away, since you're not resisting it anymore, really, by not seeing it through the lens of that negativity, because you've dismantled the belief, but also the actual circumstance itself is not going to bounce anymore off the mirror. You've released it, not in intellect, but in emotion.
Exactly. And that is the power of now. Doing that all right now. I love it. It's amazing.
What a perfect advertisement. And I love that you travel with that book too.
Yeah, I had poked at it years ago, and I'm just poking at it again, but it's a good travel book, not too thick. So, and it's a real book, still feels good. So hence traveling with it. Anyway, I'm feeling satisfied. How are you feeling?
Satisfied as well.
Okay. Any closing thoughts?
The power of
Right.
fucking
Now. I appreciate you. I appreciate you up
appreciate
there.
you. And you down there. Wait, I'm on this side, right?
Yeah. Oh, wait. Touch fingers. Yeah. Okay.
Like that famous painting, right? It's in Italy, right?
Yes,
Where they're
yeah.
touching God and man are
Yep.
touching fingers.
Exactly.